Hey Chris, what was here before you built this?
A parking lot. I'm the anti-turf guy. My mission here is to remove as much turf as you'll allow me to remove, and kind of breaking that aesthetic pull to want to have everything perfect, because nature is perfect. And so what we wanted to do was really show humans what a naturalized regenerative landscape looks like, having a relationship with the natural world versus trying to combat the natural world. I'm an artist whose palette is creation, but I didn't want to do what everyone else was doing. It didn't feel right. It felt somehow like we were battling nature as an industry. We wanted to have these perfectly manicured shrubs, concrete retaining wall blocks, and all the chemical inputs for the big green lawns, this green carpet, which dominates the landscape of our country. Something about the mowing part of it always just kind of ate at me, and just how much effort and how much energy go into maintaining this chemically dependent rug. Kind of a representation of kind of like imposing ourselves on nature and like fighting nature. It's just like this constant battle to keep nature back. That's the predominance. When people think of our industry, they think of lawn first. They don't think of this. I started really falling in love with the natural environment, what I was seeing that actually grew in nature in our region. And this is gorgeous, life just exploding. I was like, I'm gonna reveal this. I want humans to see this. So the idea is taking this beauty that we are surrounded in and bringing it to the front yard. Pocket prairies and rain gardens and boulders, fallen logs, native plantings, woodlands, wetlands, big outcroppings of limestone, and they can live in it. If you go to national parks, you go to state parks, it's not chemically dependent rug. It's nature, where it's actually being done right without our input. And so how can we as humans become part of kind of like the symbiotic kind of like dance with nature and not fight it so much? Because if we have healthy, diverse plantings, they'll do their job. Nature will adapt. It'll reward you. And the more we mimic nature, the better it looks, and the better it is for our ecology and for the world. And we connect to each other, because instead of, this is my lawn, here's my mow line, these defined edges. Instead of, when you get more into a naturalized landscape, it starts to blend out. And you start to feel like more of a connectivity, like we are a shared biome as humans.
Yeehaw!
All right, I gotta look at some stone for my other designer. I came to know Tori Schwope, and he literally asked me, what are you doing for the rest of your life? I want you to design Colonial Gardens. Put it together without any constraint. So whenever we built Colonial, this was the first project that we designed and installed. And this is, of course, the pretty part, but the functionality was runoff mitigation. All the storm water comes off the parking lot, goes into a bioswale, which naturally filters and channels the water and returns it to our pond, which then waters all of our plants. I want humans in 50 years to look at this and think it was always here. Like, this used to be a big log. It used to be big. I mean, the earth has been consuming this thing for 7 years. Critters have had life cycles in that log. So it's cool. There's natives in here, there's nativars in here, there's cultivars in here, there's weeds in here. One man's weed is another man's wildflower. This big guy right here, that's considered a weed.
That's a good looking weed.
That's a good looking weed. Well, yeah, just see how it does its thing. You don't see a bunch of them, you see one. Catmint, this is Russian sage right here. You know, I pulled away from being, a native purist, because I really look at the abundance of what we've done as humans, which I think is really awesome with the genetics and what we've been able to cultivate. I love the way that natives work with and contrast to and really create wonderful composition with cultivated plants, like really rare spruces like what we have here. Alice oakleaf hydrangea, Japanese forest grass, and Trevor cedars and cedar of Lebanon. And when you create like this kind of a remix, it's all beautiful and working together. And hey, that weed's intruding on that guy, so let's get that weed out of the way. But I love the contrast of all this. I love the kind of wild diversity and abundant diversity. What is this? You know, like, I can't identify everything in here. I love that. I love that it's alive, a living, breathing work of art. It's become part of the earth, and it will change. It's an ever-evolving, growing, thriving ecosystem. There's just so much happening. There's so much blooming, so much activity going on. And every day there's a new moment. There's something that's blooming. There's something that's feeding a bee. Encourage critters to pollinate and birds to have sex, and birds are singing right now. And there's life happening. I love that. I love how this represents kind of that chaos of nature, which is actually a calming chaos. I love it because you have to kind of give up as a human in a way. It's like, okay, I'm not going to impose myself on this. I'm going to let this happen and see what happens. Get to know your landscape, get to know your natural world, and there's no reason not to do that.
Of weeds and wildflowers.
Of weeds and wildflowers, brother. Isn't this beautiful? Yeah, I mean, this is quite the experiment. We want humans to be successful, and the best way to do that is trial and error on our end. The X Farm is an experiment on how to do a regenerative landscape within a common 20-acre plot of residential land. How that applies on this size of a residence.
So what was this before you guys created this?
It was turf. It was just one big continual chemically dependent rug.
So this was all grass before you built this?
We've set up different ponds and different ecosystems to test how to improve our ecology through landscape. But up here you're looking at a glade type situation that leads into a marsh. So of weeds and wildflowers again. It is just the coolest thing. I love this. I love this. This is fun.
What's it gonna look like in 10 years?
Oh, I think it's gonna be like a wonderland. It'll look like it's always been here. This is my personal yard. So this is a rewilding effort to regenerate our urban biome. Just want to have life. Rabbits and chipmunks, barred owls, and bees and butterflies. So the whole front yard was this turf. The rule when we moved in 5 years ago that I would never remove a leaf or a twig or any debris from this property. Take what nature gave me. Anything I removed would have to go back into our little patch of creation here. So this was kind of a risk as far as an aesthetic. You know, I had to convince the wife about this because to her it looked like a big mess when it started. And I will admit it did. A tropical plant would die. It'd go in here. Christmas trees are in here. Banana peels. You name it. Basically compost on top of the soil. I took it as a purpose to really explore a different medium, create contours and to create design elements using what fell on the property. See if this was a viable aesthetic, whether or not this could be beautiful. I feel like it's become beautiful. I think some people would think it's a mess. Hey, you know, it's not for everybody. I don't have a lot of time for the yard. I needed to have a way to do this, number one, without machinery, without spending any money on labor, and I could do it all myself. So I don't need a gym membership. I don't need a lawn service. So there's a lot of stuff that just kind of is here. I got lilac coming in, but a lot of this is coming in from the neighbor, and I don't care. I'm glad the stuff's coming through from the neighbor because we've got an old fence here. He doesn't want to replace it. I don't want to replace it. So I just told him, stay back about 4 or 5 feet off the fence, let everything grow. I'll take care of it on my side. Don't worry about me. Because he was concerned. He was concerned, oh, you got stuff growing on your side from my house. I'm like, no, I want it. So that actually is the neighbor's catalpa tree. But I've made it mine. I've stolen it. And I've been limbing him up and training him, create a really nice, beautiful little canopy. Privacy, it shades our porch, but this leads into our little garden back here. So this was a typical legacy landscape, but no, it was just all turf, the whole thing. Concrete pad, bluegrass. This is an experiment I've been working on, and well, this is called microclover. It's okay. I've got wild grape and trumpet vine. So these are all from the neighbor, and it's the bane of everyone's existence in Kansas City. Humans hate it. But if you just manipulate it, I just call it sending it back to the neighbor and just keep it working through and weaving through. The structure you can kind of see over time, big, thick, woody branches. And so the idea is that this consumes the fence. And this has become a solid green mass. So the other thing is because I had bluegrass, so I let this wild violet take over, and it has become a really good lawn. It's not your traditional, hey, I've got perfect bladed grass monoculture, but it's green. It's pretty. Mother Nature seems to like it, and all of her little critters seem to like it. So this is all elderberry here. Urban apples here. And I share it with the neighbors, all just a shared kind of ecosystem here. So this is just a way that you can have a little oasis within the urban biome to bring forth something wonderful that has an ecological benefit. I love driving to this site, listening to Puccini on the way in, driving around the lake and being awe-inspired just by creation. I have clients literally coming to me wanting what they see at Colonial, and what they see at Colonial is the creation of habitat. So much more than just a landscape, a marriage between a human and our ecology and our world. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when a client such as this lets me go, it inspires me and it makes me feel a true connection, because I get to reveal the garden to a human who wants it revealed to them. Not a trend, not a, hey, I want to be different. No, this person wants the garden revealed to him, his wife, his family, his kids to grow up in the garden.
What are you doing up there?
What am I doing? Oh, I was just texting the wife. She got up late. This is cool. This is a beautiful morning. This is what we're doing. So we're taking the challenge of this space, which I love it. Look at this elevation. This elevation is extreme. And so the objective is how do you make this space usable? So I went back to the old switchback idea. So the deck steps to the garage door and create a nice flowing walking path. So you'd have like a boulder here, okay, and then like a boulder here, so the kids can step and play. The railroad ties are no bueno. So maybe even come in and do outcroppings within this with the limestone that we're not using. Yeah, the extra, so we don't have to haul all that off. Okie dokie, Smokey. First thing we want to do is we want to stop water from getting into the basement of the house. Let's build terraces, and we're channeling the water. So we're slowing the water down. So instead of it rushing to the back of the house, it's entering into a system of bioswales, which is then planted with native glade plants. And how do we do that? Boulder walls. It's a beautiful retaining wall system that's not concrete, that comes from the earth, that's millions of years old. Each boulder has a story. Each boulder has a face. Each boulder has an attitude. Beautiful. Strong. Okay, so you want to swing it this way so that this is against this. Yeah, that looks good. If we can just get it pushed that way so we can have the structure. We're walking on the wilder side of landscape design. We don't want to interrupt Rigo. Rigo's the machine.
Rigo!
Hey, how are you?
This is freaking cool. We're gonna come in vertical, so we need to have a little bowl made here. The whole idea is that the root ball will be snug up against the boulders on this side, so that it looks like it's growing out of the rock. Yeah, that looks cool. All right, we're good. Building with boulders, natural boulders, is a challenge. I get it. Believe me, I've done it enough to know. Humbled. Oh my gosh. Kind of scared, a little bit. But it's so rewarding. 2-ton boulders, like that can hold some earth. And by placing them just right and doing your engineering properly and having your grade proper and channeling the water properly, we're turning it into an ecosystem back here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create kind of a dry creek edge. So you're going to take out that big hump, bioswale at top, use his riprap, his existing harvested stone as our edge. And we're going to create like a waterfall kind of situation right there, dumping into this excavated area down here. Probably place a boulder over here, but this will all be plants in here. We're going to bring in some other logs, but I'll also just kind of place boulders around. Oh man, look at this. This is so cool. This is cool. This is cool. So we've got the bridge going in, 9 foot long, 6 foot wide beast from the South Ozark foothills. 300 million year old seaweed compressed before the dinosaurs. Big moment. Yeah, this is Rego action right here. But yeah, this is exciting. This is exciting. And start building this area where we have kind of a nice little cove for a beautiful bald cypress tree that we're going to put in right there. I really want to make sure he had a perfect nook because his view from as you walk up is going to be substantial. Yeah, just wait. This is going to be so cool. We want to be wild, but we want to be curated wild. Bob Ross's voice is in my brain when I'm playing with trees. It's like, happy little trees. Little happy little tree. So if you do it with a brush stroke, we have to kind of manhandle our trees. But you don't want to have these like little dudes. See these little dudes that are growing on the trunk? You just pick those off.
Why is that?
You just don't want to have it turn into a branch.
And it takes the energy from growing vertically?
Yep, and it just looks shaggy. I mean, it looks like a much older tree than it actually is. But yeah. I've added a few more plants here and there. There we go. You can like reduce the size of the fillet. It's edible.
Wow.
And aromatic. So it smells good too. I am so happy with that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this looks good. I'm happy. Oh, I'm happy. And you're doing good taking care of the plants. You haven't killed anything. It's all alive. It's all alive. So this is the results after 1 year. And this is what a native habitat can look like. You're starting off with we're talking like 8-inch plants, but with the right inputs, the right soil composition, with all your good soil microbes going and your compost layer and your right hydrology in your rain garden, boom, after 1 year, here you go. Rushes and sedges and milkweed and baptisia, rattlesnake master in here, echinacea coming out the wazoo. This has turned out pretty phenomenal. So here we go, wild on purpose. It's toddler first year. Boom! I mean, look at this. We have a recreation of what nature will give us in the wild. And so this is purposely wild. This is just amazing growth. I mean, milkweeds even decided to find a new home. We didn't plant that. Look at this, look at the Veronica. Oh my God. Oh, that contrast is just sick. So I can get caught up in like little details because they're everywhere. Drama, Blonde Ambition, a little creeping thyme. So cool. So this little butterfly milkweed here, this little dude came in, we planted him as an 8-inch. Boom, insto plant. Of course, we do have quite a bit of natives in here, but we also have quite a few native-ars and hybrids and cultivated trees like this Carl Fuchs Deodar cedar, which are really gonna set off the space nicely and really create a really wild, woody look. This is really epic. This is absolutely my favorite project. Number one, because it was a challenge. Number two, because the clients are freaking cool and allowed me to kind of go nuts. You start off right and you have the right clients who really care about their environment, and this is what you get. So this landscape got a big hug from everyone. This is love. It's beautiful to come into a residential setting and to be able to bring nature back to highly disturbed areas. See how quickly we can turn things around as a society and as a culture. Absolutely good for the planet. This is 100% a habitat. We're just kind of returning this to nature. This is the goal. And this is just the beginning of a forever landscape. This landscape will always evolve and always be beautiful, but to have it look like this after 1 year, I'm proud. I'm proud. Proud of this.
Dude.
Dude. I am proud of this. This is freaking me out. We're on our way, and I'm just so proud and honored and humbled and all that good stuff to be in the position I'm in at the time I'm in. To be here is amazing. I love my job. I don't even look at it as a job. I get to do this for a living. I get to do this. I'm drawing and I'm playing and I'm having fun, and humans are enjoying my work. The humans I work with are all inspiring. There's so much thought behind new naturalism and regenerative landscape and what I call rewilding. But it's all right, and none of it's wrong to me. It all seems like everybody's got these really cool perspectives on it, and people are getting into it. Sometimes it's overwhelming because you're like, oh my God, am I gonna mess something up? But no, you're not, because you're doing something better than putting down chemicals. Instead of that machine mowing down grass, you're actually trying to understand nature and trying to observe nature for a permanent landscape that looks like it is from the earth and not imposed on the earth. What's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? Well, I added a 200-year plan. I want to show humans an alternative to what we've been doing with our planet, with our landscapes, creating traction that we have fully restored this planet to the garden state. Everyone will have their land as truly part of our shared garden across the globe. You know, it's not something that's forced on people, it's something people want. This is not done by a government regulation or a rule. This is done by people seeing it, recognizing it, wanting it. Becoming a contagious movement, one human to one human, one garden to one garden, gardens connecting to each other. Humans are capable of this, that it's not as difficult as people would think. Just by engaging with your little patch of creation, you soon will become a truck stop on the interstate of pollinators. These landscapes will reward my clients and will reward the humans that visit. We're breathing like purified air because we have so many trees and so much vegetation that we just become healthier in our spirit, in our souls, and in our body. It brings us alive. And I really believe that we're moving towards this being recognized as what needs to happen. And I think that humans do, in their heart of hearts, yearn for that relationship with our planet. We're longing for it. If all humans took their landscapes, took their land, and inputted these ideals, the world would be, I would just say, abundant. We can eat our landscape, that we can sustain ourselves in our own garden, and that our garden is shared and our whole world is a garden, to where we find our balance. It is a utopian dream, I will admit that, but it's also, I think, an attainable dream. It's lofty, but I can see it, and I feel it when I do projects like this that are truly that. It shows people that it can be done. It shows people that this has an aesthetic, artistic value. This is art. This is functional art, and I believe it so much. I'm not hopeful. I know it's going to happen. I know that the more humans experience their natural world in their own backyard, that it'll spread. I think this beats a chemically dependent rug and perfectly trimmed shrubs any day.
It's like you're building nature back.
Yeah.
It's like people mowed it down and we're putting it back.
Yep, exactly what it is. That's what people have been taught and what people know. You know, they know the lawn. They know this. They're comfortable with getting on their mower. They're comfortable with spraying Roundup. You know, I mean, I'm not going to condemn them for it. I just want to show them something more beautiful. And this really is a statement of that, of our relationship with our friggin' garden.
It's our home.
It's our home, baby.